Good morning, and thank you so much for joining us for SBB Live. I am your host and the publisher of Seniors Blue Book, Amanda Barton. Really excited today to bring on one of our value partners over at Abby Services. We have brother and sister dynamic duo over here, Jaimee and Scott. How are you this morning?
Good. How are you doing?
Really good, thanks.
Good.
Now you have an amazing story of how you got into the industry. So talk to me a little bit about yourself, your background, and what brought you into this amazing industry.
Sure. We've been around for a little while. My father started Abby Services back in 96, 97. And I based that when I was starting school for nursing up at Penn State. But my family moved down here and he was involved in senior care with assisted living facilities. It was a large national chain. And when they decided to tell him he needed to move again, he didn't want to leave. So he went ahead and stayed here. And at the time, there weren't many offerings for home care. And he saw that and started Abby Services. At the time, when I would come home, I would work as a caregiver. So I've sort of functioned as a CNA while I was in nursing school. And I had gone off to work in different hospitals and whatnot and wound up settling back down here. So I've worked as a CNA, as a caregiver, all the way up through, I'm serving as administrator now, I'm an RN. In the meantime, Jaimee's always been present, sort of working behind the scenes, but
it was kind of like take your daughter to work day for a little while there in the beginning. So I had a whole different career path that I was going to do, and was doing that for a while and having fun. And then I settled down, and my dad saw one golf course away from retirement in me. So he thought, hey, why don't you start working for me and figure this out? And so I did. And that's all she wrote. He couldn't get rid of me after that. And then Scott started a few years later, and it was just the three of us as owners for a while. And our dad's retired now. Unfortunately, he was diagnosed with Parkinson's disease. He's got some cognitive impairments, but he still likes to come in and see our P&Ls and see what we're working on and what we're doing to make sure Scott and I are still keeping the train going.
Well, and interestingly enough, the experience of what you're going through with your father makes you even more empathetic and definitely, educate people on what's happening with you guys. So there's another layer or tier of your services, Jaimee, that I know you're really passionate about. So I have two questions for you. I love to learn something new about all of my advertisers. So two questions. What was your career before you started working in a family business? And then also tell me about that second layer of services that you provide up above basic home care and why you're passionate about that.
Sure. So when I was in high school, I was really taking a liking to doing makeup, and we all kind of have a little bit of an artistic ability to us in our family. Our other brother Shay, went to the Art Institute of Fort Lauderdale. Our dad was super talented in woodworking. My mom was really good in painting, and Scott's really good at almost everything. So I went to school to be a makeup artist, and that's originally what I was doing for a while, and realized that I was kind of going to be a little bit of a starving artist unless I moved to a major city, and I'm kind of a homebody. So I chose to start the career path with my dad. And it's been great. But so the other part of our business that we are really proud of, and we're working on developing even more programs, is we started a medical marijuana component to our business model. So we do an advocacy program for medical marijuana patients, seniors especially. Our dad, because of his Parkinson's, was using medical marijuana, and truth be told, he was a little bit of a hippie. So
he had prior experience.
He had some experience under his belt. And so he was, not really managing that very well because the cognitive issues were starting to set in. And my mom was a school teacher and overwhelmed. And We decided to really educate ourselves on the need for medical marijuana in the senior industry, and just to make sure that they weren't being taken advantage of when they went into the dispensaries, had the education. We're a part of the American Cannabis Nursing Association, which gives us a lot of knowledge worldwide, what other places are doing in other parts of the country and other parts of the world. And just making sure that we're helping every senior, if they choose this journey or are referred to medical marijuana as an alternative, that we walk with them in that journey, and that we help make sure that they're safe and doing the right things.
You know, my dad aside, when I was meeting with patients, I would find out that they had tried medical marijuana and had failed. And in learning about it, a lot of the seniors were either overwhelmed or looking for a set prescription, so to speak. You take 2 and call me in the morning. And it really isn't that way. It's more of a personal journey. So for us, it became more educating, explaining, and supporting them through that. You know, it's been, I think, vilified for a number of years. So it's stigmatized, maybe is a better word. And it's intimidating to be like, all of a sudden you've heard this is bad, this is bad, this is bad. And then you need it to treat a condition that you rightfully have. It's a leap for a lot of seniors.
You're absolutely right. Just to follow up on that, I think that with seniors, that if they overdo it one time, then they're going to be nervous about trying it again.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And it's a self-guided journey. So it's difficult to navigate that themselves, because they're looking to their physician to help them with the dosage or the methods of ingestion. And there's not a lot of information out there. There's not a lot of physicians that are, primary physicians or specialist physicians that specialize or even have the education of medical marijuana, because unfortunately we deal with a lot of red tape because it's still federally illegal. So the information is just not readily available for them, or to have just been said to, like Scott said, take 2 of these and call me in the morning. It doesn't work that way.
Well, and you talked about overdoing it. And for, I guess, folks who are watching this, there are ways to sort of manage that and to avoid that. And if it does happen, how to, I guess, not have the negative effects of that.
Right.
And that's part of just the education and part of the learning.
Mhm.
So I think for a lot of folks, there's a lot to take in, but they leave having discussed those things with us with a better, I guess, overview of all that.
And unfortunately, COVID kind of put a hold on our services that we were offering.
Yes.
We are actively working on revamping our structure and how we're offering that out into the community.
Good.
A lot of changes were made in the state as far as the state registry goes for medical marijuana because of COVID.
Mhm.
So stay tuned. We'll be pushing
Home care has
some
always
stuff
been
out
our
there.
focus. Yeah.
Home care is our focus. Absolutely. That's what we're good at. That's what we're strong at in Lee County. But this is just something that we saw. We've always been advocates. I think, and in home care, you are an advocate.
Yeah.
And this was just a little bit of a gray area that we saw that needed a little bit of handholding.
For sure. And every time I've walked into a dispensary, 50% or more of the folks that are in there are seniors. So I know that they are looking for more education. They're looking for these services. They don't want to pop a pill for everything. So it's an amazing thing that you guys are doing. I know it's a passion that really, runs deep with you guys on a personal and a professional level, because you see your clients going through this and you want to help them.
Absolutely. Yep.
And I got to follow up, Scott. You are good at everything. I've enjoyed watching all of your projects through COVID. I just wish that I could replicate you and hire you to come over and help my contractor.
Let me know what you need.
All right, guys. Well, thank you so much for your time this morning. It sure has been a pleasure getting to know you. And Jaimee, for makeup tips, I will be in touch.
Yes, I guess we have a lot of talents behind us here.
Yes, you do. Yes, you do. Well, thank you so much for being a valued Seniors Blue Book partner and a personal friend. I really appreciate it. And I hope you have a great morning.